Hello everyone, how are you? So let us start our today's session with one of the most beautiful game. So let us see. So an object, two teams are there with red and blue. Sum of the forces is 0. They are not exerting any force on this object. As they are not exerting any force on the object, net force is 0 or sum of the forces is 0. Now try to understand. Bichu aa jao. So he is exerting force 50 Newton towards right and go. Object is moving towards along the direction of the right force, going and right there. Right, red wins. Now what? Let us return. Okay, now suppose on the left side, now 100 Newton force on the left, right side it is 50 Newton. So there is a net force towards left. There is a net force towards left, so object will move towards left. It is moving, speed increases and speed increases and just striking. Right? Now let us again return. Now introduce more forces on it. Right, 350 Newton towards right, 100 Newton towards left, and so there is a net force towards right. There is a net force towards right. Let us go. So object is moving towards right with a higher speed and strike. Right? Understand now? So here only we are explaining red wins. Right? So we are explaining how this net force playing major role during a fight or during the change of state of the object. So let us try to understand what is force. Yes, what is force? The biggest question. Force is the key concept of mechanics, whatever it is your kinematics or laws of motion or gravitation, whatever chapter, everywhere the key concept is force. Though this force is discussed in laws of motion, but you have to understand this concept of force. It is very much important because mechanics means it is the force and influence of force. So let us try to understand what is force. Though force is generally referred as an external agency in the form of push and pull. Push, pull, right? Now let us try to understand this force in details. Okay. So let us try to understand this force. Boom. Yes. Boom, boom. Right. So what is the concept of intuitive force? Intuitive force. Yes. What will happen if there is force? Try to understand. If there is force, I am writing here. If there is force, if the object is at rest, have a tendency to move. Right? An object at rest. Object at rest may move or may not. May come in motion or may not. May come in motion or may not. If the object is at rest, may come in motion or may not. Because sometimes here the concept of net force will come. Now if you are exerting force, object may move or may not. I am here, if you exert force on me, I will move or may not depending on the value of net force, which is very much important. Right? Here Pinku, this Pinku and this is Bablu. Right? Pinku is exerting force on Bablu and Bablu is exerting force on Piklu. Now what will happen? Whether Bablu will move or Pinku will move or will remain same, what will happen? It depends upon the concept of net force, and which is very much important in physics. Right? Now number 2, if the object is in motion, object is in motion, object in motion, object in motion may stop or may not, may come in rest or may not. Similarly, if the object is moving in a specific direction, direction change or may not. Maybe there is change in direction or may not. Maybe there is change in direction or may not. And last one is maybe there is change in shape or may not. That is 4 cases are there. I repeat it again. If the object is at rest, have a tendency to move or move. If the object is in motion, may stop or tendency to stop it. Moving in a specific direction, may change its direction or only the tends to change its direction, right? And last one is there is a change in shape or tendency to change the shape. So what is force? In general, I am not going to the Newton's laws of motion. In general, force is an external agency in the form of push or pull, which produces or tends to produce motion in an object at rest, right? Which stops or tends to stop the motion of a body, which changes the direction or tends to change the direction of the motion, object in motion. So many things are there. I repeat it again. Force is an external agency in the form of push or pull, which produces or tends to produce motion in a body, right? Object at rest, rest to motion or tends to motion. Object in motion may stop or tends to stop. Object moving in a direction may move in the same direction or its direction changes. It depends upon the value of net force. That is key concept of this chapter is your net force. I am repeatedly telling you that it is very much important to understand what is net force. So try to understand what is this net force. You see here I am showing something. Try to understand. If the object is at rest, may move, right, or may not. Here the person is exerting force. If the object is at rest, it is coming in, it is moving. If the object is in motion, come to rest, right? May or may not depending upon the value of net force. Here this is exerting force to increase the speed of the body. That is, this person is exerting force to change the motion of the body. This person is exerting force to increase the speed of the body. This is exerting force to change the direction of the, this is trying to change the direction of the body ball, and he is exerting force to change the shape, right? So these are the effects of force. Actually effects of force ना नेट फोर्स, नेट फोर्स होने से अच्छा होता क्योंकि नेट फोर्स होने से ही चेंज होगा. अगर नेट फोर्स नहीं है तो चेंज नहीं होगा. only tends to change, right? So try to understand. If there is, I am repeating again, if there is no net force, there is no change. Change is only whenever there is net force. Understand? Okay. So try to understand. Ultimately, this is your net force. Try to understand what is net force. I am here. How many forces are acting on me? Infinite forces are acting on me. How many forces acting on you? Infinite forces acting on you. How many forces acting on this object? Infinite forces acting on this object. How many forces acting on this fan? Infinite forces acting. How many forces acting on this camera? Infinite forces acting. How? I am here. Is there any force on me? I think your answer is no, sir. No. Infinite forces acting on me, because I am a body of this universe. And I am attracted by this board, I am attracted by this wall, I am attracted by that wall, I am attracted by this object, I am attracted by this camera, I am attracted by this TV, I am attracted by this smart board, I am attracting from all sides, right? Then how many forces are acting on me? Infinite forces acting on me, but still I am here. Why? Because so many forces are acting on me, but still the net force on me is 0. Net force on you, if you are studying right now, you are watching my video now and sitting in a chair, then there is force on you. You are attracted in downward direction by the gravitational force. There is a gravitational force in downward direction. As you are sitting on this bench or on a chair, there is a normal reaction on you, but still you are in position because forces are acting on you, but the net force on you is 0. So on you there is force, on me there is force, every time there is force. Question is that whether there is net force or not. So every time you have to understand that concept of net force, right? Now, how this net force? You see, now I am taking your example. You are on a chair, right? Try to understand. I am giving an example. You are on the chair, right? This chair. You are on this chair. Now you are here, right? You are here. Now gravitational force is in downward direction, mg. Normal reaction force is in upward direction. If the net force, if mg is equal to r, right, in equal magnitude is equal, so the direction is opposite. So if their magnitude is same, means the object is, you will not go in downward direction, you will not go in upward direction, means on you forces are there, but net force is 0, and that's why you are not moving in upward direction or in downward direction. So forces is there on you, but net force on you is 0. Now I am here, right? Now if someone push me in this direction, then I will move along this direction. If someone pull me along this direction, then I will go in this direction. That is, I will go only whenever there is a net force, that is resultant force is there, resultant force. In earlier example, right, on the right force, left force, and if right force is greater than left force, then obviously net force is in right direction. If left force is greater than the right force, then obviously object is moving towards the net force, towards the left force, right? Now if this chair suddenly breaks, then what will happen? Normal reaction will decrease, and because of there is normal reaction is very less, and because of weight, object will go to the ground, right, because of the gravitational force. Now try to understand. Let us take this example, right? Now they are exerting force on it, right? This tower, suppose, or wall, anything else, or any object. Now they are exerting force. Now there is a, suppose it's a pillar, so there is obviously there is a force from the ground. It is tightly bounded here, right? Now they are exerting force, and whatever the force exerted, suppose they are exerted 50 Newton force, it is also exerting same 50 Newton force, then it will not move in their direction. Now if they are exerting 60 Newton force, and whenever they are exerting 60 Newton force, whoosh, this object will move down. That means here there is a net force 600 Newton, which is right, and here 500 Newton. So there is a net force, and because of which the object will move in this direction. So whether object's position, whether object's position will change, whether object's motion will change, whether the direction will change, whether the shape will change, all everything depends upon the concept of net force. Right now, concept of net force. You see, whenever a boat floating on river water, right, whether boat will move or not, what will be its speed, it also depends upon the net force. Boat is exerting force, right, water current is also there, and water current exerting a force. Then what is the net force? On the value of net force depends whether the boat will move in forward direction or not. Even while I am working, while you are working, whether you will move in forward direction or not, it also depends upon the net force. So it is very much important to understand what is net force, right? So understand now what is net force. I repeat it again. I'm repeating again. So I'm taking another example. Sorry. This boy, right? This is a boy, right? This is a boy. Now only his right side is 50 Newton, on his left side 50 Newton. Net force is 0, sum of the force is 0. Object rest में है तो rest में ही रहेगा. Now if we exert 60 Newton on this direction, object will move. That is rest to motion. Earlier only tends to change the direction, only tends to bring the object in motion. Now object is in motion, right? Suppose a ball is falling in downward direction. A ball is falling in downward direction. Now you catch it. If you are able to catch it, right, or unable to catch it, it also depends on the value of net force. Whether the object will change its direction or not, it is also depending on the concept of net force. See, very interesting this net force. Suppose an object is a person is running in this direction, right, running. Now if you hold him, and if you are he is running with a certain force is there, suppose 50 Newton force, if you exert him also 50 Newton force, then definitely will stop. If you exerting 10 Newton force, will not stop. That is, if you apply force, no, it will not stop. To stop him, you have to exert, there should be net force 0. Your force should be equivalent to that force, then only the object will stop. So you have to understand about the net force, concept of net force. Now so many types of forces are there. Contact force. Contact force means I am exerting force on anybody. In direct contact is there, he is pulling this or pushing this object. Direct contact means is there, means this is your contact force. Suppose a table, तुम एक टेबल को यहाँ से यहाँ तक उठा के लेके जा रहे हो, और चेयर को तो उठा के लेके जा रहे हो, ऐसे एक्सर्ट कर रहे हो, और किसी दोस्त को ऐसा धक्का मारा, तो ये क्या हुई? कंटैक्ट फोर्स. समझ में आया ना? कंटैक्ट फोर्स. नाउ यू सी नॉन कंटैक्ट फोर्स means non-contact force, gravitational force, electromagnetic force. Suppose you see, you throw an object, right here, throw a ball, and you throw this ball, then There is force, every point there is force. And this is the gravitational force, every time there is a force in downward direction, right? Non-contact, I am attracted by earth, you are attracted by the earth towards the center, right? Non-contact force. I am attracted by this camera, though I am not in contact with the camera, but still camera is attracting me, I am attracting camera, non-contact force, right? Earth is attracted by sun, sun is attracted by earth. Yes, there is a force of attraction between earth and sun, because earth and sun both are in this universe, and according to Newton's laws of motion, Newton's laws of gravitation, every material body of this universe attracting each other. Though earth is a body of this universe, sun is also a body of this universe, there is a interaction, there is a force of attraction between the two, and this is non-contact force. There is no direct contact between earth and sun, but still there is a force of attraction. There is a force of attraction between any two bodies of the galaxies, any two bodies of the universe, if they have mass, and these all are non-contact forces. North pole, south pole, whatever the force of attraction is or repulsion, it is also non-contact force. Positive charge repel another positive charge will attract another positive negative charge. So this is also non-contact force. So electromagnetic force is non-contact force, gravitational force is non-contact force, right? Understand? Okay, chalo. Interconnection force इसका खींचा, you are exerting force on this object, you are exerting force on this thread like this, you are exerting force on the thread, and due to which this one coming towards you, that is, he is exerting force on this, and still and this one coming towards him, that is, this is an object, this is another object, this object exerting force on the threads, object 1, object 2, object 3, object 3. Now object 1 exerting force on object 2, and object 2 exerting force on object 3, and so object 3 is moving towards object 1 because of the force or through object 2. Understand? So it is interconnection force. Chalo. Balanced force and unbalanced force. Balanced force and unbalanced force already I discussed, but still again I am discussing these things. So anyway, if we consider I am again telling you, suppose an object is here, right? Object is here. Now on the left side, whatever the force, suppose 500 Newton. On the right side, on this side also 500, left side also 500 Newton. So the object is in balanced condition. Here they are exerting the force, they are also exerting the force. If their force is 50 Newton, और ये लड़के भी कम नहीं है, वो लोग का भी 50 न्यूटन, मतलब इस साइड में 150 न्यूटन आया तो राइट साइड में भी 150 न्यूटन आया, और नेट फोर्स हुआ क्या? बुआ. Net force is 0. Sum of forces is 0, and this is also known as, this subject is known as statics. ये subject को हम क्या कहते हैं? Statics. Statics means force is there, but net force is 0. Example, bridge. Example, building. And key concept of this engineering one, it depends upon the क्या? Net force. Net force कितना है? While an engineer draw or structural work or structured design of a building in which it is very much important to know the statics. What is the net force? You have to understand what is the net force, and depending on this downward force, you have to exert, give the size of rod, cement, size of rod, and all these things. Pillar, jojo, hey, everything depends upon the net force. Whether the bridge will break or not, it depends upon the net force. So the mechanics totally based on force, and here net force is 0, and so it is statics. Now try to understand. Acha. So 3 questions are there for you. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Patak 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 se tak 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 karke quickly give me the within 2 days you have to submit this 3 question of these 3 answers. The 3 answers of all these 3 questions. Answers of all these 3 questions. चलो क्या है अभी अनबैलेंस्ड फोर्स. अरे अनबैलेंस्ड फोर्स और क्या बोले, कितना बार बोले हाँ. So unbalanced force, let us try to understand what is unbalanced force. Okay, already I told you, but I am again repeating it. Here you see very interesting subject. Here on this side, suppose 500 Newton, right, 500 Newton. On the left side, suppose maybe it is 100 Newton. Means net force is 400, because of 400 newtons it is going in downward direction. So there is a net force. So net force, if there is net force known as unbalanced force, I am working because of net force, unbalanced force. Because unbalanced force means what? There is a net force, there is a resultant force. Balanced force what? On me, whatever, on any object, whatever the forces exerting, net force, sum of all the forces is 0, is known as balanced force, right? I'm again showing it, you see. Balanced and unbalanced. Balanced and unbalanced. So balanced, there sum of net force is 0, and unbalanced, there is a net force, there is a certain value of it, right? And because of this unbalanced force, I am working, I am moving from one point to the another point. Every objects are in motion. If they rest to motion, motion to rest, change of direction, everything is only possible because of this unbalanced force. So unbalanced force is very much important to change the state. Rest to motion, motion to rest, change of direction is only possible because of this unbalanced force. Understand na? Chalo. Thank you very much for listening me, but I need your assignment within 2 days. तब तक के लिए bye bye everyone.